Greetings, TheWarOwl greets you. Counter-Strike has a rich and storied history of questionable weapon patches that completely ruined the game. Today we're going to be ranking the most overpowered weapons in Counter-Strike history by how broken they are. To test the weapons out, we had a mod that reverted every weapon to its strongest state in history, and we played a bunch of games on it, a bunch of competitive matches, and a bunch of different variations of that. We'll be doing a gameplay video on that experience soon. I asked the Grand Keeper of Values, Sloth Squadron, for help in setting up the mod, and he was like, no. I got you, fam. That guy took the time out of his day to make us a mod and do a full write-up about it. That's the kind of guy he is. So I am bestowing upon Sloth Squadron the honorary title of War Sloth. Starting us off is a weapon that I think is still overpowered because of the running one-tap accuracy, but don't tell Valve that because I think it's funny. The Tec-9 was at its strongest point on July 1st, 2014, and was patched July 2nd, 2014. But my goodness, what a fantastic 24 hours it was. It was like a world event in an MMORPG. Everybody in the entire game, like 1 million people, were all using the Tec-9 and only the Tec-9. If the CTs could steal a Tec-9, they would take it. It was just, oh, it was so great. The ammo capacity was increased to 32, and the recoil was, removed. There's a theory that some dev fat-fingered the inaccuracy fire value, and this was all just a huge mistake. This one is definitely an A tier. It's just, pure hot garbage. There was a time when Coldzera was the best player in the game, and he would purchase a UMP instead of an M4 on buy rounds. This was all made possible by one value, the damage reduction over distance. You could use a UMP as if it were a primary, and you'd still get the $600 kill reward, and it would be super cheap to buy. Right now, I think people pretty much only use the MP9 and the MAC-10, but back then, UMP was the submachine gun meta. The weapon was never super overpowered or broke the game or anything. It was just kind of poorly balanced, so I'm putting this at a C tier. I just noticed that I left this up. How embarrassing. Listen, you're a bunch of sexists, okay? I'm not a pretty girl, but I wrote my subs on the thing, and I got like 50 subs in 5 minutes. It works, okay? On May 1st, 2013, for the period of 1 week, the XM1014 auto shotty was meta. The damage was increased from 20 per shot to 22 per shot, and that was enough. I specifically remember people only using the auto shotty as their main primary in matchmaking. It was a fun week. At the time, we thought it was the most broken thing of all time. How young we were, how naive. When looking back at it and when trying it out again, it was not as strong as I remember it, so I have to put this at C tier. But the memories. The P90, on the other hand, was super overpowered during this time. You could get a $900 kill reward with the thing and basically just run and gun. This was like low-level gameplay. This is back when Global Offensive was first released, so I shouldn't be too critical on the devs here. According to Sloth Squadron's notes, it was one of the first weapons to ever even receive a nerf. This is like 2012 Counter-Strike. Even so, after playing with this thing for a bit, I didn't feel like I was playing Counter-Strike. I felt like I was playing some noob run-and-gun game like Call of Duty or something like that. Now, I want to give it a low tier just out of disrespect, but I feel like with our list, the higher tier is the more disrespect. So I'm giving this thing an A tier. M249, don't care, F. The week of February 5th, 2014 will forever be etched into the annals of history as the AUGpocolypse. A terrifying event that sent chills down the spines of even the most sturdy of men. The weak-willed masses fled for less broken games, but some stood firm against the encroaching darkness. Basically, the AUG was the most broken weapon in Counter-Strike history by far. Yes, even worse than the Revolver, we'll get to that. Remember, only one team could buy it, the movement speed while scoped was greatly increased, the accuracy was greatly increased, the recoil was greatly reduced, and most importantly, it was the increased fire rate that allowed even the most pathetic of noobs, who have never even seen a TheWarOwl video, to instantly melt their opponents just by pointing in their general direction and clicking. If there was an S+ category, I would give this an S+. But that would take too much time to edit the graphic, so I am giving this an S tier. The P250 is another iconically broken weapon. For years, we had a pistol in the game that cost $300 where you could one-tap headshot against helmet. Not even the M4 can do that. Early on, the P250 was legit the best pistol in the game. You could go toe-to-toe with pretty much every other primary weapon as well. If you played back in 2013, you know what I'm talking about. For me, this is a B tier though, because it doesn't reach the broken, completely like this was an accident levels of the Tec-9. So I gotta put this at B. There was a time where the M4A1S was the meta. Nobody had the M4A4 equipped, and that was because the M4A1S had the same fire rate as the M4A4 and all of the added benefits, like the recoil control, the recovery, the suppressor that's on it. Now, this one didn't make me laugh at how bad it was. Didn't make me go, this game's horrible. So, it's a D tier for me, but it's worth mentioning. It's worth remembering this moment in history. You might be surprised to see the Glock on a list of overpowered weapons, but remember, this is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Every pistol at some point was horribly broken and horribly overpowered. So back in 2013, the Glock had more base damage than the AK-47. You could spam that thing, it was absolutely insane. Pistol rounds were horribly one-sided. Ts would always win the pistol round. It was not abnormal to hear a seasoned professional player screaming in shocked agony after being defeated by a team of rushing Glocks. Now this one's right in the middle for me. This is a C tier brokenness. Guys, I solved the shininess in my face. Watch this, it's this monitor over here. Boom, I look like a normal human. No, I smiled and my cheeks are, well, I'm not sweaty. I promise I'm not sweaty. Taser cost $100. You could get a $300 reward for it, and the movement speed was a lot faster. I like meme weapons. I think they're fun. I think they're funny. I don't care. That's a D tier, so it's not super interesting, but I like that the taser is in the game. When we played our matches using every single broken weapon, it may surprise you to learn that the deagle was one of the most used. And it's because there was a patch back in 2013. For 1 week, the deagle consumed worlds. This was so broken. The deagle was already a beast as it is, but with a base damage increase to 84 and absurdly fast accuracy recovery, you could just spam the body for a 2-tap. Whenever a pistol is a more viable choice than a primary like an AK-47 or an M4, the game's broken. It's over. Time to go home. This is definitely an S tier for me because it has everything, right? It was a patch that came out of nowhere, completely ruined the game for a period of time. It was funny. They immediately patched it and apologized for it. It just, pristine, hot garbage. Back in 2013, Valve implemented one of the most controversial patches in gaming history itself. They nerfed the scoped movement speed of the AUP. Back then, we had a sole AUP superstar, Kenny S, dominating the scene. I ran into Kenny recently.
Oh, I'm blind, bro. Move! 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 I'm scared! One low HP. One more HP. Get the fuck out of you fascism. What the fuck is? Man, what the fuck?
He was known for his aggressive style. He'd scope in, peek the angle, good reaction, good instincts, get the shot almost every single time. But as we all know, the true way to AUP is to stop, scope, flick, and fire. And Valve agreed. This patch instantly shut down Kenny's reign of terror and opened the door to more conservative AUPing styles like Guardian. Now this is one of the best patch stories in Counter-Strike history, but the strongest version of the AUP wasn't overpowered, it wasn't broken, so I'm giving this a D tier. Also, the auto snipers pretty much had the same patch, so I'll stick those right below the AUP at the F tier. The sawed-off has never been good, it has only existed as a meme weapon. At its strongest state, it could one-tap people really close, but who cares, that's an F tier. The CT counterpart to the sawed-off though, the Mag 7, was the dark horse of this entire thing for me. I did not expect myself to be buying the Mag 7 as much as I was. The main reason for this is the increased fire rate. You could like melt an entire team if you got into the right situation. Think of how strong this is on defense on Nuke or Inferno, doing like a lobby crunch on Nuke. You'd still get that $900 kill reward with the thing. I was genuinely impressed with it. It's the one that surprised me the most, so I'm putting it at the B tier because it wasn't like broken or it's just solidly not well designed. The 5.7, it's never super broken. It just, well, the old thing with the 5.7, it had like one tap accuracy as you were running around, kind of how the Tec-9 is now, but Equip the CZ, for crying out loud. That's a D tier for me. Speaking of the pocket AK-47, when the CZ75 was introduced to the game, a lot of people left the game. This was like, it fundamentally changed the way that Counter-Strike was played, and it took sequential patches over months and months before the thing finally got nerfed down to an acceptable level. Let's just put this in perspective for you. We had a pistol in the $300 slot that had the damage output of the AK-47. It was so influential on the pro scene that Team LDLC earned the nickname LDL-CZ, and we're just completely dominant with it. If you knew how to use the CZ, your team was gonna win. It got to the point where all 5 players were buying the CZ and consistently winning the eco rounds. I think for the historic nature of this blunder, for this fantastic blunder, what a blunder, changing the meta for months, I have to put this in the A slot, the A tier. Oh, the CZ, CCZZ. Z, I'm not saying Z, I'm American, all right? The SG-553 was overpowered for 6 years, and nobody noticed. That's the dedication to finding the best strategies and evolving the meta that a top-level esport like Counter-Strike is known for. If you used the SG, or better known as the COD gun, nobody would want to be your friend. In fact, sometimes you would outright just be kicked from the team. If somebody was being a jerk to me in game and then they asked me for a drop, I'd still give them a drop, but I'd give them the SG just to twist the knife, just to mess with them a little bit. The SG-553 remains a testament to the elitist arrogance of the Counter-Strike community, and I love it for that. I'm putting it at the C tier. And now, the moment that you have been waiting for, and most likely the weapon that I will use as the thumbnail for this video, the revolver. Where the CZ75 was the pocket AK-47, the revolver was the pocket AUP. On December 8th, 2015, a day that will live in infamy, the revolver was released to universal dismay. For 2 days, 2 days only, a sidearm pistol was capable of one-tapping a fully armored enemy with a body shot. It had a base damage of 115. Like, somebody had to type that in. Somebody had to go 115 on their keyboard. I knew people personally who played the game since they were a kid, who quit the game when this came out, and just never returned. When we played the game with all the broken weapons available, people actually preferred to use the deagle instead of the revolver, including myself. I tried to make the revolver work, but the delay in shot, just didn't like it. But I wanted to put it A tier, but I kind of have to put it S tier. Just because you had a one-tap body shot pistol. That's so stupid. It's just like, it's like absurd. It's absurd that this happened and that somebody did it intentionally. Like, I cannot wait for the TAC-21 to come in and break the game all over again. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun 2 days. It's gonna be a fun week, maybe. So that's it. The definitive list of the most broken, overpowered weapons in Counter-Strike history. Thank you for joining me, my friends. As we go forward with the channel, I'm gonna be experimenting a little bit with content, trying new stuff. The most difficult thing for a YouTuber to do is to break out of a niche. About 2 years ago, I stopped doing the instructional content. I started doing more entertainment stuff, and thank you guys so much for sticking with the channel, and thank you to all the new viewers who joined. Like, honestly, the channel has been, and the TheWarOwl stuff has been going better than it's ever been, so yeah, I'm gonna take the next few months. I'm gonna be experimenting with new content, trying wacky ideas, and I know it's not all gonna work, it's not all gonna get great view counts, but that's the point. I'm gonna sacrifice some of that and use this time to try to come up with some new ideas. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like the video. It lets me know that you like it and like this is kind of content we can do going forward. I'm TheWarOwl and I still have no closer.
Can we copy strike TheWarOwl? He's copying my thing.
By the way, the hot tub is in the mail. I'll have it next week. We'll have a great time.